Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Well, I'm happy to be home in my old neighborhood. That's the Hensley homestead there. That's my neighbors, the Oaks. Here's my old neighborhood. And today I'm particularly thankful for the jet lag because I'm actually getting to see the sunrise. And those of you who know me well know I am not a morning person, so this is a rare treat for me. Just beyond those trees there is the Smith River and an area of land called Belmont. Before this was settled, this used to be heavily populated by Native Americans. There are my neighbors, the McLeans. When I was a child, we used to find arrowheads around here all of the time. There used to be behind those trees over there, later on, a blacksmith shop, and we'd find horseshoes and old nails, but we most loved it. It was like hitting the jackpot when we found the arrowheads. This is an amazing place, and I'm very, very fortunate to have grown up here. Now, today's challenge is going to be two-part. There's one for my American friends, and for you, I want you to go today and Google your real history. I want you to Google who the first pilgrims were, because most of us think that it was when they came over after religious persecution in England and landed in Plymouth, Massachusetts, and there was the first Thanksgiving, which probably what happened was the grandma Indian was sitting at the table and said, if you invite them for dinner, they're never going to leave. And that's exactly what happened. And I don't have to remind you, as I look around this neighborhood at all of these different families that originated from different countries, that unless you're actually a Native American, that you all come from somewhere else. All of us do. So I want you to today challenge yourself to go look up some history that you don't know. And a great place to start would be, who were the actual first settlers in America? We learn things in school, we are taught things in our history books, but rarely is it the case. I'll point you in the direction of a little settlement called Fort Caroline, which is above St. Augustine and near what is now known as Jacksonville, Florida. And this was a French colony settled about 50 years before the Pilgrims arrived at Plymouth. These colonists were mostly farmers, and there were a group of Spanish conquistadors that came up in treacherous weather up the coastline and actually decimated this settlement. And these were your first pilgrims, but we don't hear about that in the storybooks because it doesn't look good on a Hallmark card. I want you to go and Google your country's history. Go find out something a little bit different than what you knew today. And while you're doing that, I want you to be conscious of the fact that we're all guests here. If you're an American, unless you're a Native American, we're all guests in this country. We brought our own cultures. We came from different backgrounds. We had different financial systems, different ways of eating, different languages. And that's who we are. But isn't it funny how today we've become so insular and divisive that we think that we're different from everybody else, or that we've made other people not welcome in this country? I hear it all of the time. I hear people referred to by their race, not by their names. And I think it's time for us to come back together and recognize that America is a great melting pot. And if we have anything to be thankful for, it's that we've not been called up on the real history of what actually happened here. We need to be grateful for the fact that each of us comes from somewhere else, that we all have the opportunity to call ourselves Americans. But the actual history of America is a story that's really untold and yet to be told. And I want you to go and look that up. Start piecing it together for yourself. Don't just read what they tell you in the history books. Whoever had the money or the power at the time that those were written, that's the story that got told. Go challenge yourself to a new history. That's today's challenge for my American friends. I want you to have a very happy Thanksgiving, and it's the end of the world as you know it.